welcome to Empower Hour. I'm your host, Lee Mitchell, and I am here with Hilda Gann. And Hilda is going to be talking to us about our strengths and overcoming imposter syndrome. Welcome, Hilda.
Thanks for having me.
So let's dive into the topic because our mission here at Empower Our Hour is to empower you in under an hour so that you can take away some actionable things to work on. So, what we'll do, just to give our listeners an understanding of what's going to happen, is we will dive into some questions. I'm going to ask Hilda some questions, and Hilda's going to give me some advice. And then we're going to ask anyone who's listening live to also chime in and let us know questions that they're having, so that we can support you. And each week we'll be doing different topics. So if you're listening and you're the most confident person in the world, imposter syndrome's not your issue, which I have highly doubt. I think we all have imposter syndrome. Don't you think, Hilda?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so
Every
too.
once in a while, some more than others.
Yes, exactly. So, I'm hoping that people can hear me on the live side because we are having some technical difficulties. Um, you do you happen to be able to hear me on the LinkedIn live stream that you have going? Can you hear me?
You're
Lin-
talking to people?
no, to you.
Talk again.
Okay, can you hear me on the LinkedIn live
No.
side? No, you can't. Ay, 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 ay. Okay.
But I think we should make sure people are in the audience if they can just do a chat, like a message to say, hi, I'm here, kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. So if you're listening, just put a chat in or a message in the comments to let us know that you're actually here. So we'll wait to see some comments. But yeah, we're experiencing some technical difficulties, and so we've kind of had to do this in a weird way. But hopefully, okay. Oh, really?
Yay!
So you can hear? Yes.
I
Woo!
so the technical difficulty is I cannot hear her speak, and I cannot read lips that well. So I'm on the phone listening to her and hearing my echo.
Okay, very good,
Yay.
very good.
That's the
All right.
important thing, that you guys can hear us.
Okay, excellent. So welcome, Willie. Welcome, Maureen. Yeah, so maybe if you want to type in the chat some of the issues that you might be experiencing when it comes to building your confidence and really knowing your strengths. Like, what are some strengths that you know that you have? Willie, I know for sure is because she is a member of Women in Biz. I know that Willie is someone who really can help others. She is such a loyal friend and she is invested in helping her community through Legal Shield. So, Willie, I know one of your strengths, but is there something that you sort of feel a lack of confidence in? I guess because we all do. I know I do. I mean, you wouldn't imagine how much I was freaking out prior to coming on live when this wasn't working properly. But you know what? The show must go on, and we came up with another way to handle it. So there you go. We're doing it. We're making it happen. So Hilda, maybe we'll start. We'll get everybody a chance to warm up in the chat
Yep.
and
Yep.
share something that they're comfortable with. Maureen, welcome, new member of Women in Biz Network. Happy to virtually meet you, and looking forward to having a new members meeting soon. But in the meantime, Hilda, let's dive into the topic. Um, how does one find their strengths, first of all? Because we can't always assume that people know what their strengths are.
I think it's a lifelong journey. I think people need to understand who they are. And over the years, listen to what people say, people and tell about you.
Mhm.
I'm hearing an echo of me. So if I have a pregnant pause, you'll know why. I'm trying to blot out my voice. Okay. So what people need to do is learn more about who they are. And when they start to learn a little bit more, just continue. Sometimes that's taking assessment tools. You know, many people probably have taken Myers Briggs or Clifton Strength Finders. DISC is a common one. The one I love is called Fascination Advantage. And what I love about Fascination Advantage is it's it's reported in a very positive way. So you feel good about yourself. It's not saying here's your strengths, here's your weaknesses. And what it does is it uses languages that every day. So you're not trying to learn their lingo. It's pretty much everyday language. And it's written positively so that it helps you uncover both strengths where you shine. Think about it. Instinctively, we talk naturally. Well, if you knew how you communicated naturally and you shared that, you are looking more confident and positive. If you started a job where you're expected to be outgoing, but you're more quiet, it it makes you nervous and you can't be yourself, or you're trying to be something that's not yourself. So you don't shine. People look at you like you're not confident and you're not capable. So my thinking is always continuously learn who you are. And when you gain that knowledge, you can speak with your confidence and people will know, like, and trust you. It's building that relationship using what I call your superpowers.
Hmm. Superpowers. What do you think is your superpower?
So there's different superpowers. I did a session for a woman, well, it was Sailor Moon conference, if anybody knows Sailor Moon. And we talked about empowering yourself, and a lot of women were there. So we asked them, what is your superpower? And I thought about it and I thought, it's empathy, it's compassion. I care about people. So my superpower is compassion. But
Hmm.
when I talk about fascination, my languages is there's 7 different languages we can communicate. I won't go into too much detail, but some people are out of the box thinkers. Some people are people connectors. We call them passion. Some people are very decisive, power. So my superpowers are is prestige, the language of excellence. I look at continuous improvement, improvement in myself, improvement in processes. Even when I've done a presentation, I always go back and check something. Can I improve it in any way? So I'm definitely a prestige person who continuously improves. And then power is my secondary. And when I speak these languages, I show my confidence, feel natural. Think about it when you're writing something, if you're right handed and you're writing your name, it's easy, right? But if I ask you to write with your left hand, try writing now in the air with your left hand. And you look like you've got some kind of shaking disease because it's not easy, it's not stable. So you're doing it. So what I'm trying to say is find the way you communicate most effectively and then use that. It's natural. It's instinctive, right? So
Hmm.
fascination, what I love about fascination compared to disc or strength finders, fascination looks at how the world looks at you.
Hmm.
Many of the others look at how you look at the world, how you pattern the world. But this is people seeing how you look. And when you come across the way they think you should and the way you should, you do come across with more confidence.
Yeah, it's interesting that you should say that. And I remember when I learned about my fascination strengths, and so maybe I'll let you be, just because you're so good at describing me, and you coach me a lot. It's so cool. I love it. So maybe because I everyone that's listening, other than a few people, know me. So let's see how well you describe what you know about me through what you learned when I shared my fascination.
In all this kerfuffle getting ready, I've forgotten your. Are you the catalyst?
I am the
What?
innovator.
Okay,
Yeah,
but innovator's your primary, and what's your secondary?
prestige.
Okay, all right. We talked about that last week.
Mhm.
So Lee is innovation, and innovation. The language of innovation is the language of out of the box thinking. Right. So Lee comes up with all these amazing ideas. And you say, where did that come from? Right. So an innovator is a person who's got lots of ideas. And sometimes they're great ideas that people follow. And other times it's like, whoa, what is that? And innovators are people like Steve Jobs, Lee. These are the people that create things and say, hey, do you know I'm going to create something like a computer on your phone? And you say, really? And this is 1970. Like they're thinking, what is the problem with this person? So those are innovators. And then her secondary is prestige. And prestige, I told you, is the language of excellence, continuously improve things. So when Lee gets a great idea, like Women in Biz, like well before all the women's networking things, and then she continuously tries to improve it. At some point she started adding a mentoring program for women. And so she never stops thinking, both at a out of the box level and at the detailed, how can I make this better, how can I make this better. And for people, that's see, Lee is an innovator. Professor Lee is an innovator for sure. And
That's
the beauty of fascination is it helps you understand. And when you embrace these primary and secondary languages, it's natural. It's like writing with your hand, it's instinctive. When you don't know what it is, you're not sure. And I've had people take the fascination advantage assessment. You answer 28 questions, 5 minutes. You get a 16-page report. And I had one person take it, and she said, I always thought I knew how people saw me, but this validated it. And now I feel more confident when I come across, because I know that's what people are seeing. That's what I'm thinking. And she said, the one thing I couldn't understand was the fact that in that 5 minutes, they found out what we call it dormant. It's out of the 7 languages. This is the one that I don't do well. And I forget what hers was, but let's say it's alert, the language of details. She said, how did they figure that out? How did they know that? And I said, this is a science-based tool. Lots of research. Over 1 million people have taken this. So it was really eye-opening for her. And when I gave her the interpretation of the 6-page report, it even gave her more confidence.
mm. It's funny that you talk about the whole fascination program because I remember taking it and being blown away. Because for those of you who are trying to build your professional brand, it gives you so much information about how to utilize your strengths to build your professional brand. And for those of us who really want to shine and position ourselves in the marketplace, it's important to understand your strengths and then how to use them to brand yourself, your
Yeah,
personal brand.
yeah.
And so I was so blown away by the program that I went in and looked at becoming a certified fascination leader
Advisor.
advisor, pardon me. And and lo and behold, who do I find in there but Hilda? I had no idea that that's what you did. And so once I learned that you did it, I'm like, I don't need to do this because Hilda does it and I can work with Hilda. But I am that passionate about what you get out of it. They send you emails all the time
Yeah,
giving you tips for your personality type, which is
yeah.
brilliant. So
Thank you.
let's go to Willie for a moment. So Willie, I think Willie is saying that her weakness is, or the area that she's challenged by, is making calls. I don't know if that's her strength or her weakness. Let's go both ways. So you have to make sales, right? So as an entrepreneur or maybe even as a job seeker, you have to reach out to people. So if that's not your natural tendency, what are some tips for those that find reaching out to people really difficult because maybe how they're concerned about how they are perceived?
So I think it's about practice. The first time you make a phone call, it's scary, right? But maybe there are different things that you can do that connect you with people. Because what is the purpose of making calls, right? It's building relations, connecting relationships, and finding out what makes more sense to you to connect with people. Maybe making calls isn't the right thing. And making cold calls, I don't care who you are, making cold calls is not natural. You're phoning a stranger and you have no like or trust connection at all. It doesn't matter how great a network you are, it's hard to make that.
Mhm.
So it's about a mental mindset of how do I want to connect with people? What is the best way that I connect with people? So some people, it might be going to networking events with a friend
Mm.
and then have a conversation with the three people, and you feel less scared, less alone. And then you maybe feel a sense of satisfaction. If you need to make phone calls, try to make phone calls with people maybe that you met at a networking event so that there's already a little bit of warmth built in. So
Mhm.
it is really trying to examine what is the best way I know how. And maybe I could just give an example of even leadership. I was asked to be training these young leaders to lead. And we did things like time management and leader versus manager stuff. But I said, let me do the fascination, because if I'm going to coach these people one on one, I want to help them understand who they are in a science based way rather than a let me get to know you a little bit better. And so the office manager was really organized, detailed. She could share things and make things happen all in one day. So she was an alert, attention to detail, but she was also power, very decisive. And the person that I was coaching at this time, she was what you called mystique. And mystique are the languages of listening. And she was also a bit of an innovator, right? So she had out of the box thinking, and she listened a lot and synthesized information. And she says, I can't be like Jane. I can't be that kind of leader. Then when I went through her report and shared what her strengths were and how could she be a leader with these strengths, she says, I can do it. I
Mm.
know how I can do it, and I can be it my way. And I thought, yes, you got the message. You don't have to be something you're not. You need to find out what you do best and then share that. Because when you are at your best, automatically, then you shine and you have that confidence. And when you have confidence, you create that connection.
Mm. Yeah, and I do believe in the power of having a buddy or someone that you trust to help you, right? That's the whole idea about mentorship that I became so passionate about is I really really needed mentors when I started my business. I had no idea what I was doing. And today with this podcast or and live stream, still have no idea what I'm doing, right? So some of it is courage, but some of it is, working with someone who makes you feel calm, right? And you were so supportive,
Mhm.
encouraging when we were having challenges with this podcast and live stream today. But we got through it, right? And I
Yeah.
think it was easier because we could lean on each other
Yeah.
to get through that stressful moment. Yesterday, as you might notice, I'm at my cabin and I ran into a friend, and she said, "I'm going to jump in to the lake today," and I was like, "Oh, okay, good on you." And then I was like, you know what? the only way I could possibly do that is if she's doing it. And if she's doing it, then not only am I going to make it fun for her, but I'm also going to do it because, if I say I'm going to do it, I tend to try to stick to my word.
Yes.
And so we ran into the water together and we jumped in, and we were talking about it afterwards, and I'm like, it's so much easier to accomplish things when you do it together.
I
So
remember a time when we were at Scandive Spa, and they have hot ones and they have cold ones. And I went into the cold one, and none of my friends would go in, but one said, "I think I could try it," like hesitantly. I said, "Okay, well, I'll help you." And so I went in the water, and she was chickening out, kind of thing. She's changing her mind. I says, "You can do it. You want to do it. I know you want to do it. I'm going to stand in here until you come." So I was getting cold, but I held out my hand. And then when she went in with me, she was giggling and she said, "Oh, this is so fun. Thank you for encouraging me." I said, "Well, I was almost about to come out." No, but I said, "I believed in you." And you're right. When you have somebody that's supporting you and helping you, I see that Medea is saying that resonates so well with me, what we talked about, having somebody to do. She says, "For me, I struggle with asking for help.
Mhm.
In my imposter mind, I'm a leech that wants to take, but as has little to offer." Uh, can I respond to that?
Please do, because first of all, I know it's not true. She's my student and she's the opposite of that. But yeah,
So,
what advice would you give her?
so what I read, I'm looking at from the positive perspective, Medea. I'm looking at the chat box as if you're literally there. So you are not an imposter that leeches and takes from everybody and has little to offer. You are the kind of person that loves to learn from other people, and you have that ability to absorb that information because you want to be better. You want to understand and know. So look at it from a positive lens rather than feel like you're a leech and that you have little to offer. You probably don't even realize how much you have to offer. And then as you continue to gather all this information from people, you are going to be giving more and more of your experience and knowledge. So that's what I see.
Wow, how beautiful is that? And I think it's very true. Like, as my student, I can say that she's definitely has a zest for learning.
Yeah.
And she, will, when she's in class, she'll learn things and then she'll share what she learned in a way that helps others, and it's all about your intent, right? I
Right.
think personally,
Right.
I think
So
if you're honest with yourself and your intent is good, then I think most people are going to perceive it in that way. What were you going to say, Hilda?
so think of, Maria, your superpowers, your ability to hear things, gather information, and then to be able to share that with other people. That is a gift. And based on what I'm just reading, it sounds like you may be a mystique. And a mystique person is the language of listening. You listen, you gather information, and you absorb it. And when you do, you often will reflect that back to the group. I love to say we need the mystiques in the room in strategic planning because some people are so vociferous and the innovators will pop in all their ideas. The prestige will keep trying to improve things. The mystique will be listening. And at the end of a 15-minute discussion, they may speak and say, "So what I heard us say is this." It's this analysis, the synthesis of the information to create a solution that is better than the one person here. It's the sum of the parts. So all of us play an important role in life. And if we can just see and appreciate our own strengths and abilities and those of each other, we can certainly make a much better solution through collaboration and through listening and problem solving.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
I'd like to talk about imposter syndrome too.
Please, yes. Let's switch topics.
Okay, so how many people feel they have imposter syndrome? Right? Okay, so many people. And what I'd like to say about imposter syndrome is that I wish that there weren't so many people that felt they had imposter syndrome. And I'll tell you an analogy, and hopefully this resonates with you to give you the confidence to quiet your imposter syndrome voice down to nothing, if just a little bit. So, many of you are mothers, some of you may be aunts, uncles, whatever, because there may be males listening in as well. Think about the baby who starts to get stronger and stronger and begins to stand up and walk. You know, as a mother, I can still remember the first time my firstborn son was walking, right? The joy, the delight. Now, as that toddler, are you satisfied with that speed and then you fall? No. Next week, they start to get up and walk a little bit farther, a little bit faster. Once they master that, is that it? No, they start to walk faster and they're walking continuously faster and faster and falling. As a business owner, as a leader, as a new grad starting out to do stuff, we are like that toddler. We will keep doing stuff. And then once we mastered it, we're not satisfied. We want to go to the next step. Is that an imposter? No, that's a risk taker. That's a person that's got courage. Once they master this, right? So that's not an imposter. You mastered this skill. Then what do? You accept a next challenge, a newer challenge. Does that mean you're a imposter now? No. You are confident to take it a little bit further and a little bit further. So I wish people would get out of their minds that they're imposters. No, you're courageous, brave people willing to try something new and new and newer. And I think COVID gave us the courage to say, I can do it. I'm not afraid anymore to leave a job that I don't like and I feel um, I I don't enjoy. Right? We now have the courage, the practice, and the reinforcement that it's okay if we extend ourselves. We will be okay. We'll be okay. So that's my take on imposter syndrome. I can't stand hearing people, oh, imposter syndrome. Think about the courage that you've had to master one thing and not be, I'm an expert in the 3 ways of doing complex issues. No, you're going to go to the, I'm a master of the 5 ways to do 10 steps to whatever. No, you say, oh, I'm so out of my depth. I'm so out of my depth, but I got this now. So I'm going to go so much out of my depth. So have the courage, pat yourself on the back. It's not imposter syndrome. It's courage to keep trying, doing things that are more complex and more out of your comfort zone once you've reached that level.
Oh my gosh, that resonates with me. Ugh, I'm getting goosebumps. Yeah, it's I could almost yeah. Anyway, I could get emotional going into this topic. And I know that you and I have had many conversations where I've really struggled with my self-worth. And you've always been so encouraging to see that, you know, not to give up, to see the value in putting yourself out there. And for me personally, I I thought, oh, I got to get away from owning my own business. I just can't stand being in such a vulnerable position all the time. And I feel like all of my weaknesses are completely out on public display. But I'm finding now that I'm okay with challenging myself to keep going, right? Because if as long as I approach it with a sense of compassion for myself and allow myself, like, there are some days where, like after this, I'm probably going to want to take a break and have some downtime, and that's okay. So, it's okay to give yourself what you need when you
Yeah.
need
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
and to recognize when you need to fill your cup, and recognize when you need to take a break from thinking about how you need to improve yourself. So we're getting it's 2:35, and my whole mission is to empower you in under an hour and to walk away with some actionable steps. But actually, there was a comment from Maureen, who feels that she has nothing to give, and I know that that's not the case. Just looking at her LinkedIn profile, I don't know Maureen personally yet, but I know I'm going to. Uh, yeah, but she struggles with that, so I want to make sure that we give a moment to offer Maureen some advice.
Okay. I don't see it on here.
It's okay. Just
Okay.
that's what she said.
Okay. So she feels she has nothing to offer. Is that what you're saying?
Well, that's what it says in the
Okay.
chat. Yeah,
Okay.
she was relating to um, what was said about imposter syndrome, and uh, yeah. So
And I think, I know I'm painting a glowing picture, but what I want people to do is look in themselves to see, find it from a personal positive lens rather than a negative lens.
mm,
I'm a hashtag I am remarkable facilitator.
mm,
And this is a volunteer thing that I do. There's over 4,000 facilitators. It's a global movement that helps people get comfortable with self-promotion. And if I'm we don't do that enough. And maybe I'm suggesting, Marie, pause and reflect and say, I must do something good. What is that? And sometimes I have the courage to wake up and get out of bed because
mm,
every day I just want to roll over. Depending on people's stages, even that tiny increment of being able to do something beyond where you are at is remarkable. And we need to think of our achievements not necessarily in big things, it's even in the little things, you
mm,
know. So the hashtag I'm remarkable is a opportunity to attend a workshop, and there have been over 1 million women, men in the world who have taken this workshop. And what it does is it teaches you self-promotion. It gives you some statistics about underrepresented communities and how we felt we've lost our self-esteem. And the slide I love the best is it's a Black woman sitting there reclined and so like confident. And she says, you should be sharing your accomplishments, because this is what she says. If it's fact, it's not bragging.
mm,
And so if you got a degree, if you finished your high school and got a diploma, that's a fact. It's not, oh, look at what I got. I got my, degree and whatever. It's learning how to share what you do, because if you don't share it, people aren't going to say, hey, my friend here, Marie, I just met her, do you know she, well, I don't know that, that. So I would recommend that you do a Google search for a hashtag I'm remarkable and take one of the workshops. I'm actually doing a workshop for the Heart of Networking. Oh, I forget when it is. It's sometime in June. I think it's June the 12th.
Can we collaborate on that? Can I share that with my community,
Yeah,
or
I can do that for you later. Yes, I'm.
okay?
Yes, I'm doing it on Wednesday, June the 12th from 9:30, I guess. 9:30 to 11:30. Yeah.
There's some more comments that are coming in. I don't know if you can see
Yeah.
them.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. So Marina is saying that finding achievement in the small things. I For some reason it's cut off. I can't see exactly what it says. Oh, actually, you know what? I can just go like this, full screen. Oh no. Uh oh. Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay. So uh, finding achievement is really helpful. She struggles to recognize her wins. I know I feel that way as well. And one thing that I practice, even if it can't be, if I feel like I don't have anything to celebrate for a win, I'll celebrate my gratitude, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm grateful that I had an amazing therapy session and I learned that I want to work on calming my nerves and not talking too fast or too much when I'm nervous and focusing on the strategies for that. It's been really hard. I've been working with a therapist who's really helping me to focus on the things that I hate most about myself, because if I don't face them, then I'm never going to get anywhere with them. And the lack of self esteem from not facing it is really causing me a lot of emotional challenges. So that's what I'm working on right now, is just when I'm feeling nervous, I have to calm myself down by doing some breathing and think about what is the one big thing that I need to share, and just focus on that and try to, you know, eliminate the other chatter or the other things that I feel like I need to share. Just focus on one thing. So,
And
the power of one is really quite a useful
it,
#skill to have, right? If you're
I
feeling overwhelmed, what's the one good
just
next thing you can do?
in the fascination, the hashtag I'm remarkable sessions, one of the exercises is where you actually write the words, I am remarkable because, and then you fill in the blanks.
Mm.
And then you say, I am remarkable because I got up at 4 o'clock this morning to go XYZ, right? That's remarkable. For some people, it says, I'm an early bird. I always wake up then, right? So it's just repeating that. Another thing, I was with a coach and we had group coaching as well. So every Friday, she said, okay, guys, what's your 3 wins for the week?
Mm.
And I'm not good at Facebook. I will type incorrectly. I'll take 20 minutes or whatever. So I would put it in a Word file and then I cut and paste and just throw it in. And I know I don't have to look at the spelling or anything. If you started to do something like that every week, and because I documented this, in 3 years, I started to see the progress that I had made. Not that I ever went back and looked at all the words, but the fact that I wrote them and I thought them. So I want to share one more idea about self confidence. Maybe this is just like the toddler running. Maybe this analogy can help you as well. So I was a teenager, we all, yeah. And there was this one day that I felt really good. As a teenager, you have bad days and good days. This day, I felt so good. And I got on the bus. It was a sunny day. Sun energizes me. So I'm on the bus and I'm going downtown, still feeling really good. I forget where I was going to go, and I get down, 20-minute bus ride, and I get on this down the subway, and I get on the subway, and the doors shut. And guess what I saw? I saw this really, so happy go lucky teenager with curlers in her hair. I had been going downtown for 30 minutes, just smiling along with these curlers in my hair. And I'm looking at that mirror, or the windows, and I'm going like this, like I'm just going and putting it in my pocket, trying to, but I'm thinking, for 30 minutes, you look like you're on top of the world with these stupid curlers in your hair. And then I thought about it. I thought, oh my God, it's the power of you inside. It doesn't matter how
Mm.
you look outside, how people see you outside. Nobody giggled at me and I just feel good. So what the message is we have the power inside us to feel good. We can be confident in ourselves. It's not the outside, it's how you feel inside. So find it in yourself to learn that you're beautiful inside and to own that, and you will emulate that look of confidence.
Oh, wow, that's a really powerful story. I love that. I have you ever been to the bathroom and you're wearing like a dress and pantyhose and then you come out and you realize, well, this has happened to me. This is where my dress is stuck in my pantyhose and someone has to tell you, right? Or the other day, I was at a conference, the Retail Council of Canada conference, and I was having this really amazing conversation with this woman. And I walked away and I was feeling so great and hopeful for connecting with her in the future. And I go to the washroom before I'm leaving to leave the conference. And I see that I have food on my face. And I was like, oh my gosh, I wonder if she was seeing that while she was talking to me because I didn't realize it. So, me being the joker I am, I went back to her. I go, okay, if we're going to be friends, you got to tell me I have food on my face. She's like, I didn't see it. I wear glasses and I couldn't really see the details. So there you go. So, okay, let's wrap things up by sharing, if you could, and not to put you on the spot, but 5 things. What is it, your 5 things that as an action plan that our members can take away and our listeners to work on both finding and embracing their skills and their strengths and dealing with imposter syndrome, which shouldn't exist according to you?
And so I think I highlighted, maybe it's best to summarize, is that life is a journey of self improvement. And where you are now, you're just going to keep getting better if you have that right mental mindset. So look for opportunities for self improvement. Number 2, find your passion.
Mm.
Because if you find your passion, that will also bring you joy, excite you, energize you, and you'll feel much better and more confident because you're doing something you love to do. The third thing is my roller in the hair episode is you have it within you to find that confidence.
Mm.
You are a bit able and capable. Find that in yourself and align yourself with people who nurture and foster you. You know, ditch the people who put you down. And I was at a conference last month in Vancouver, and this keynote speaker said, we are our own worst enemy. Think of your personal assistant in your brain saying, oh, why are you wearing that? That's ugly. Would you say that to your best friend, your
Mm.
worst enemy? Yeah, but you say it to yourself.
Mm.
So she called it your personal assistant in your brain.
Mm.
Train your personal assistant to be positive, to not say, well, you got a crappy dress on, or that was dumb what you said. Have that personal assistant foster your growth.
Mm.
So I think that's number 3. And then think of the fact that imposter syndrome should be dampened down and that you are courageous to keep trying new things and saying, I'm going to conquer this, I'm going to do that. And when you become the expert at that level, you're not satisfied. So then you think you're still an imposter because you're going to the next level. So eliminate the imposter syndrome and embrace the courageous you. And I think just live life and enjoy the moments and acknowledge the achievements, big and small, that you've done, and you will gain more and more confidence in yourself.
Wow. Those are really good things to consider. So I'm hoping that all of you that are listening and watching will consider even just taking on 3 of those for the next week, right? 5's a lot, but I like to give choice. And yeah, and see, and let's hopefully you'll tune in next week. We have Natalie Haynes, who's our guest. Natalie Haynes is a psychotherapist and has a program called Comfortable Race Conversations. Uh, she's just a dear friend and colleague. I don't know if you know Natalie, Hilda.
No, I don't think
No?
so.
Okay. Well, anyway, hopefully you'll get to meet her
I'm
next.
going to come. I'm
Yay!
going to come.
Okay, excellent. So, and then we can hear progress on whether our listeners who will hopefully come back, whether they will have worked on at least 3 of the 5 things that you mentioned today. So, Hilda, as always, I just want to say I love you. I really do. You're one of
Thank
the
you.
first people I called when my dad got sick, because Hilda's also a nurse. So she's had worn many hats in her lifetime. Uh, Award-winning business owner, award-winning friend,
Oh,
and an award-winning nurse, and an award-winning facilitator, and fascinating advisor. So, Hilda, what is something that you would like to share with our listeners, whether it be a special offer or just anything that you want them to know about you or about how they could work with you or whatever? That,
I like connecting with people.
mhm.
That's passion is my tertiary, and that's the why you do what you do. Um, I welcome people to link in with me, and do mention where you met me, that you saw me here on this stream. And I encourage you to visit my website. The Fascination Advantage tool is there. If you like what you heard and say, I think I should step back and look at who I am and gain that positiveness. So I think just those 2 things: link in with me, encourage the connection. I encourage that connection, as well as if you're interested in fascination, go to my website, which is www.peoplebrightconsulting.com.
Excellent. Yeah. And Hilda again is live on LinkedIn. So I'm sure she'll respond to anyone's comments and add
Yep, I've checked
additional
those.
ideas, just because obviously we couldn't comment on every message. But Willie did mention just now that it's been a very encouraging discussion. So that's really nice to hear. And thanks to everyone for coming in to be empowered. So this live stream will be turned into a podcast. I do encourage you to Google Empower Hour for Changemakers podcast. We are on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts and wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you visit Women in Biz Network or use the QR code at the top left-hand side of your screen, you'll see that you can sign up for free support on the Women in Biz Network website, and you'll find all of our episodes of the podcast. So thank you, everybody. It's been a fabulous day. So think about a way in which you are remarkable. So when you're journaling tonight or thinking about what you accomplished today, make your item on your agenda before you go to bed to think about a way in which you are remarkable, because you are. And so are you, Hilda. Bye,
Thanks,
everyone.
everybody, for joining, and thanks for having me.